Can you walk me through the process of making characters for an RPG like Avowed?
I'll talk to you about Kai, who is our bluish-green, depending on different angles you look at him at. He is part of Amao, which are like very big people in the game. They're semi-aquatic. This is Kai. This is an early version of Kai. And for him, first we create the base body. When concept artists create a character, they put them in an outfit, other stuff, how they will look in the game. But before we can get to that, we have to figure out, because they can wear any outfit, we basically figure out the general proportions of the character. And we have the entire character built, top to bottom, textured, before we start putting outfits and clothes on them, which come secondary. So this is Kai. You don't see him this exposed in the game, but we make different outfits, and because they can equip anything, that go over that after the fact. So first we design the looks of these characters, and then we start the general looks and bodies for them, and then we build on top of that. It's a very many tier stage process. And in case of Amawa, because we have male and female, we have to design like what girls look like of their species, because they're going to be in the world too. So for example, here is the girl body, which again is totally different, and she equips all the outfits that are in the game that goes over that afterwards. One interesting thing with these is they're covered in fine scales, and that was a back and forth process for me for a while, because we were like, should they be tiling textures, detail maps in Unreal? How should we do it? And I ended up doing it in ZBrush because I wanted a lot of variation you'll be seeing them close up in conversations. So I wanted a lot of variation for how I sculpt the detail. And in ZBrush, I can easily control the strength. I dialed the strength back or made it stronger because you want them readable in Unreal. And all of that is based on your lighting. It's based on your materials. The materials for Amawa, I actually worked on them for a long while, like literally tweaking stuff months before we shipped. There's a better example. We take this approach with everything. So for example, we have these creatures called ogres in the game. To make the ogre, I made his complete nude body. Even knowing our first initial ogre designs, they were fully clothed. They were wearing like heavy armor on them. So in the game, this particular guy looks more like this. But knowing the kinds of games we make, RPGs, and knowing that during production, the game kind of develops and evolves, we know, or I know, that we'll likely put this guy in some other outfit, and suddenly you have to worry about different skin sections and stuff like that. Even though it wasn't planned for in the beginning, it actually did happen. So like you have your, I'll go back to this one. You have your kind of new body. He is. We actually made him a little scarier at first and dialed it back a little bit. But like you can see all the detail around shoulders. Why am I doing that when the actual guy looks like this? And that's what the call for was, make this particular ogre. But we knew we had to make it top to bottom, plan it out, because it will save us headaches later, right? Which is not how a typical character artist approaches a model. Like, why am I detailing all his shoulders and his pecs and his six-pack or whatever, like all this stuff, if you're not going to see it? It almost seems wasteful. But then in the game, design decided to introduce a few extra ogre characters, and you actually talk to some of them. So for example, then but because we made the stuff early on, we could basically make this kind of look for him. So now all the detail is revealed. And because we made it early on...
Almost has like a choker. This is definitely a fashion game.
Right? You know what's funny? I'm going to go on a tangent. We actually straight up approach everything that way in the beginning. On Deadfire, a lot of outfits were drawn by Lindsay, and we would straight up pull fashion designs, even for like leather armors or what have you, and like kind of riff on them. And then one of the software packages we use is called Marvelous Designer for all cloth outfits. But to use Marvelous correctly, you have to understand actually how clothing is made. So you have to understand like how stitching works, how patterns are connected together, and where your seams are, or like where do you put them on t-shirts. Otherwise it won't look right on the character because it sims everything, right? So suddenly we had to learn all this. Before that we didn't know, nobody knew it. We were like, what? I actually have to learn how to sew my own clothes. This is crazy. But it's one of the fun parts of being a character artist. Like sometimes that stuff is just what you have to do. We have an Orlan girl named Yatsley. Her outfit is very, very detailed, and she has like a couple outfits. Like if you look at this wrap on her torso, you know, it's all simmed, it's all done the proper way, how real cloth is done. And we do a lot of this. Giada, she's one of our other companions.
Is this a render out of engine?
This is straight out of engine, yeah. Again, Unreal 5, a lot of power, a lot of responsibility.